Hey guys, it is me again, back for a wine chat. It's not exactly wine, it's vodka and poppy, grape poppy. And it's delicious. But yeah, I figured it's been quite a while. I would come on here and say hello since I think a whole, handful of you, literally a handful, have messaged me on Instagram asking me what has been going on and why and if I will ever come post again. And hi, I'm posting. I don't know if this will be a recurring thing. I don't know. I think YouTube is a lot of work and it's super rewarding, but it's also, I think just over the pandemic, I don't know, just lost kind of interest in various things. And unfortunately, YouTube was a casualty of that. And furthermore, other forms of media kind of have taken up all of my attention, chiefly TikTok and Reddit, where I am prolific. I mean, not as a poster, I don't post at all. I just absorb the content that's being kind of doled out on those platforms. And yeah, that has meant less time for YouTube. I don't even watch YouTube that much anymore, to be quite honest. I think it's, both a combination of pandemic era, just craziness with work for a couple of years, especially right when lockdowns hit and everyone was just kind of scrambling to figure out what we were doing. And then post, 2020 and 2021, I think a lot of workplaces experienced this, where it was just the pent-up demand for business was so high that my job, for example, was super busy. And that lingered a little bit into 2022 as well, but then 2022 and 2023, I think, I don't know, new habits were formed, and it just kind of, YouTube just kind of waned in terms of my interest areas. But I do miss it. Every now and then I'll think about it, and every now and then, someone will message me and ask what's going on. Am I ever gonna post again? And am I ever gonna do any more skincare stuff? Which I really think I've lost interest there. Literally my skincare regimen just is tretinoin and CeraVe cream, and I am starting to use red light therapy mask because for various reasons, I can talk about that if people are interested at another time. For various reasons though, I've become interested in this whole infrared thing, and so have a therapy mask on order that will be arriving soon. And other than that, CeraVe, tretinoin, sunscreen. I don't think I use anything else in my day-to-day skincare. So I've just really pared down on everything in my life in a lot of ways, and it's been fine. It's been a long time, but at the same time, that saying that the more things change, the more things stay the same has been 100% true for me, especially since I am child-free, and unless you're middle-aged like me and have a child, I feel like your life is just kind of the same grind until you can figure out how you want to, not necessarily retire, but how you want to change kind of the day-to-day into something that is a little bit more aligned with your personal interests and hobbies. So for me, because I'm not at that point yet where I am going to retire early, and I say retire loosely because obviously I don't think I would truly stop working, so to speak. Until I get to that point, I guess my day-to-day is pretty much the same old. So in that way, nothing major to really share. So what do we want to talk about today? I guess I can share a few things that I've been super interested in. I know a lot of you actually have asked me about investing in particular. I think one of my early videos that I think I've put on unlisted right now, just because, I don't know, I wanted to have less traffic. One of them was about kind of investing. And again, if you are younger and you are not, and actually no matter how old you are, if you are not doing all of your tax advantaged accounts and saving into them every year to your limits, think again. Honestly, I regret so much that when I was in my 20s, I did not have an IRA account. I literally did not open an IRA account until I was, I think, 31 or something. What a freaking waste. I recall hearing, what's his name? This guy I really don't like. Oh yeah, Peter Thiel. He's over $1 billion in his freaking IRA or 401k accounts. The fact that this man, who is so freaking wealthy, is able to have that much additional wealth in his tax advantage accounts such that he won't have to pay taxes on them, you know, when he withdraws the money, is just wild to me. So yeah, I think if you aren't doing that, you really are missing out. And yeah, it's only, you know, saving, I think $7,000 a year right now is the individual limit for an IRA. And obviously I know not everyone, especially in today's economy and how expensive things are able to do that. But to the extent that it is at all possible, I would strongly encourage doing that. Again, like I said, I didn't do this in my 20s, and I'm fine, like I'm fine in my position, but I just regret the fact that I paid, you know, all those extra taxes when I could have been getting tax discount, and instead of just putting my money in a regular taxable account, I could have actually been putting it into an IRA of some sort. So anyway, that's just some you know, old lady commenting from me in terms of like thinking about your investments and how you organize and save and where you put that money. I'm happy to talk more about this. You know, this is an area that I just, like I said, especially seeing how much wealth that I have personally built using just basic saving and investing methodology. It is such a tragedy that like so many people feel scared of the market and don't invest. If they are saving, that's great, that's step one. But if they're not investing, it's just such a loss and such a loss of opportunity. So I'm just, yeah, I just feel like it's especially today, it's just so freaking easy to do this too. You know, granted, when I was in my 20s and starting out, there were, you know, online brokerage accounts, but it was definitely a little bit more of a different language than today, when you can literally do this in a Robinhood account, which is also crazy how easy something like Robinhood is to use. So anyway, if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them. But yeah, I think if I just think about the snowballing effect of compounded growth, it's just crazy. And you know, your best asset is time. And so the younger you are, the more ahead you are in a lot of ways, if you start today and kind of, you know, go from there. So that is number one. What else did I want to talk about? Oh yeah, so I mentioned TikTok and like how I'm obsessed with scrolling TikTok. I mean, it's definitely addiction. It's like you know, the TikTok scroll is definitely like a dopamine hit, and they have designed that app and the algorithm so perfectly to just give you exactly the things that you want. Most of my feed are dog videos, and but at the same time, it's like it's just an interesting dissection of kind of, you know, popular culture at any moment. And yeah, I do feel like I'm keeping up with the trends by being on TikTok and hearing what the Gen Z are saying, which leads me to my next kind of observation, is that when I was younger as a millennial, granted an older millennial, I always thought Gen X were the coolest people. And I really find it so strange how Gen Z just find millennials to be so cringeworthy and not at all cool. You know, again, I'm not saying that, you know, I am cool or anything like that, but it is just strange how today's youth find us so gross. It's just a very strange phenomenon. Like, I really never felt this way about Gen X. I always thought they're so cool. They have Nirvana. They have such great music, and I just never had that impression. I don't know. Any other millennials want to weigh in here? Like, did you feel Gen X was really cool like I did? Yeah, I would be curious to know that. It is also striking to me, for the people who do have kids, I am so impressed that you are able to do that in today's generation, like today's age, with all of the things that could go wrong. And all, like, I literally don't know how parents control kids and access to media, and especially as children, you really don't know better. You think you know everything, but you don't know anything, and you expose yourself to really ridiculous situations all the time. And if I think about myself in high school, I mean, it is a goddamn miracle that I was not kidnapped and put into, you know, sex trafficking, because I certainly was not doing things that I should have been doing in high school. And yeah, let's just put it at that. Like, And so now today, with all that is available today, that's far greater. Like in some ways it's good because I guess there's more transparency and also there's more possibility for control. Like I guess you can, you know, put a GPS tracker on your kids and everything, which is also just strange and bizarre to me. But it does really strike me that I don't know how, especially for parents who didn't grow up with this, like how do you even relate at all to what your kids are going through and what they will face, especially as they get a little bit older. Like I have a lot of friends obviously with young kids and they're awesome. They're such great parents, but I'm just honestly always so flabbergasted at how anyone is able to navigate some of the complexities of yeah, rearing children today. So kudos to you. I'm just thankful that I just have a dog to take care of, and she is such a good girl. So she is a treasure, and I cannot wait until the canine longevity drugs come out. I will definitely be first to snatch those up. I'm just rambling on like different tangents here. I was talking about TikTok and then somehow got to children. What else? Okay, let me just see what else I had in my list. Oh yeah, burnout. Okay, this has been a super interesting topic that I've been thinking a lot about recently because till this day, or not even till this day, till recently, I was really feeling quite burnt out. And to be honest, like the last year, I wouldn't even necessarily say that I was working crazy hours or had such a difficult lifestyle, but it's kind of the compounding effect of everything and just me feeling overwhelmed. And I know like there's obviously things that you can do in terms of like therapy and burnout coaching and etc. And I have personally taken to just kind of familiarizing myself with a little bit more of the literature, talking to friends who have gone through that, are going through that, and what they've done. And I have to say it's been probably the last 6 months, or maybe not quite that long, 4 to 6 months, let's just say, the last 4 to 6 months that I've kind of really taken a bit of a change in how I approach work, and that has had quite a impactful outcome in terms of my own experience of burnout. And honestly, I don't feel burnt out right now. Like it's been pretty cool. And I hear about burnout all the time, and I think I hear it more from women. I don't know if it's because men are just better at like hiding these things, or if men are better at avoiding burnout because they're better at drawing boundaries. But one of the things for sure that I've experienced is that, you know, to kind of protect yourself, it really comes down to like setting boundaries. And I think especially for overachievers and people who are people pleasers and, you know, never have done a bad thing in their life, work-wise, it's a lot for us to not want to do the most, I guess, and if that makes sense. Like it's not even, I don't even want to suggest that I'm some kind of overworker or like that I'm always doing the most, but it's not even necessarily that you actually do the most, but your mind is kind of telling you that you should be doing the most and that you're not good enough, right? I think that's actually even more what it is. So it's a combination of feeling a bit of stress because you do have a lot to do and you are, you know, trying to get through it. But because you feel overwhelmed for whatever reason, you're actually not as productive as you could be in the work hours. And then you kind of chide yourself for that mentally, and you kind of, you know, shit on yourself for not giving it the most and feeling like you're letting people down or that you could let people down. And that is, it's honestly more of a mental thing than it is like at least in my experience, like a literal, you know, I've worked so many hours. So obviously that's not true for everyone. Obviously I know people are out there doing double shifts and literally working so many hours, but in my case it was, yeah, I was sitting at the computer for so many hours, but was I actually being a productive member of society in all of those hours at the computer? No, I don't think I was. So anyway, what changed? I was planning to go down to 80% in 2024, so this year, so, you know, working 4 days a week. And so I had that in mind, and I started talking to people about their experience doing reduced hours versus like, you know, how they actually experience more balance, and if that was true. And my finding, and one of the things I was most concerned about was that I was going to, you know, reduce my hours, but then in actuality not have that much of a actual difference in terms of like what I worked. Unless I were able to completely cut off a project or a responsibility whereby if I go down to 4 days, I would not have this, you know, whatever nebulous thing on my plate anymore. it was just, in practical terms, it would probably result in, you know, me doing the same amount of work condensed into maybe fewer days, but getting paid less. And so one of my mentors at work, I was talking to her about this, and she's, you know, an older woman, and she's kind of gone through the paces of all of this, and she's actually done 80% in the past as well. And she was just, no, like, don't do that. Like, unless you can really discreetly cut off pieces of what you're responsible for, it's not gonna be worth it, and you're just gonna be paid less. And that, you know, precisely is the kind of thing that contributes to the fact that women make, whatever, 88 cents on the dollar for whatever men make, or whatever that statistic is. And I was like, you know, yeah, that's true. I was not fully convinced in it, but then she, you know, advised me to think about just setting better boundaries for myself. You know, can I block more time off my calendar for personal things, and do I really need to respond to things right away? And actually, like, her giving me the verbal permission to do things like that, because she, being as successful as she is in everything that she's done, like, has done those things herself. Yeah, like, I probably can. And she also was joking that, like, you know, men don't feel like I guess her experience of men in our career is that they don't feel the same kind of guilt for doing things like that. You know, why should I feel like I need to be strapped to this desk and be responding immediately to all my emails and blah, blah, blah. So I took on her advice. I turned off, like, notifications on my Outlook. I still do get Teams notifications when I am online on Teams, but turned off Outlook notifications, stopped really engaging myself in all of the mail. Like, unless someone has directly called me out using the @ sign in Outlook, like, I will deprioritize reading, or even, you know, responding to or even reading certain emails. If it's that important, they will come back to me and they'll ask me what they need. So I've just taken a very, like, more passive attitude, and at the same time allowed myself to have more structured breaks and really step away and feel unplugged. And honestly, it has not impacted my work outputs at all. Like, maybe the only difference is that, you know, people who report into me aren't able to, you know, reach me right away if they need my help on something, but it honestly hasn't really been that much of a big deal. And doing this for myself, and really just kind of, I don't want to say not giving a shit about work, obviously I do care. That is on the topic of burnout. I've been rambling here for quite a while. This is gonna be a lot of stuff to edit when I get this footage. So let me just leave it at that for now. If you have any questions or comments or thoughts of topics you'd like to have a vodka soda chat with me about at another date, let me know. And yeah, this is kind of fun. It's been nice to just sit here and talk to a camera. All right, I will talk to you soon. Bye.